when I didn't feel like working. I felt lazy. I was like, why? Everyone else around me is working so hard. Why can't I just do the thing? But I'm learning that some seasons I will want to work on my business and I will be super productive. And then other seasons I'm not as productive and I will try and just do the bare minimum. And both of these are okay, though I am still working toward that end goal of just as much balance as possible. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 741. Today, I'm reflecting a little bit on 2023. I know we've still got a couple of weeks left of the year, but I guess this is the time of the year when I start to take my foot off the pedal a bit. Everyone else does as well. And then going into the next couple of weeks, we'll be sharing some best of 2023 episodes. So if you missed them the first time around, you can go back and listen to them when they pop up again in your feed. But today I'm sharing a couple of lessons that I learned this year so that you don't have to. And I know that when I say that, it's like I can tell you the lessons, but a lot of the time when you hear them, it's not quite the same thing as when you actually learn them yourself the hard way. There've been so many times when I've heard the lesson or I've read the lesson and I'm like, yeah, of course. And then the situation appears in front of you and I go to apply the lesson and it's almost as if I didn't know it. So sometimes you do have to learn them the hard way, but today I'm going to share a couple of them in the hopes that it helps for you as well. So lesson number 1, your business operates within an ecosystem and you can't control everything. So you just need to focus on what is within your control instead. So we recently launched a group strategy intensive, which was going to run through December. And a lot of people showed interest, but only one person signed up. And I obviously reached out. I wanted to know why were you interested, but you're not signing up? And the feedback from that was, well, there's just too much else going on right now. I can't come to the live calls. And here's the thing. I can't control what is going on in everyone's lives right now and in their businesses right now, but I can control where I put my time, my energy, my focus. And I could focus on freaking out about the fact that nobody bought. And I could be like, this means my business is doomed. Everything's going to fail. Or I could accept, okay, great. This is where they are choosing to spend their time right now. Or this is what their other priorities are right now. I can't control that. So I'm going to instead put my time and energy and attention on the launch of our membership that's happening next year. Right? So I have this Post-it note on my computer screen that says, what is in my control? And it's a nice little reminder whenever you get into that stressing about something that you can't control. Instead, just shift it back to the things that are in your control because it's a waste of time to focus on things that are out of your control. We can spend so much time and energy trying to control things that were never within our control anyway, especially in our businesses. There is so much that is not within our control. For example, the Instagram algorithm, whether somebody buys from us, how much your Facebook ads are costing because sometimes they go up and they go down, right? There's so much that is outside of our control and it's just exhausting and demotivating to focus on the things that we can't actually influence. Lesson number 2, the only certainty is uncertainty. So learn to embrace the unfolding of your business and your life as an adventure. This one's been a big one for me and realizing you don't always have to know how everything turns out. There's a beautiful quote that I love that I also have stuck on my computer screen, and that is, water what grows without needing to know what it will bloom into. And we want to know what's going to happen because we are attached to certainty. We're attached to it being a certain way. And if it's not that certain way that we want it to be, then we think we're going to be unhappy, or we end up making ourselves feel unhappy, make ourselves suffer unnecessarily because it's not what we wanted. Whereas the concept of non-attachment is being okay with it not going the way that you want it to and just trusting that it's going to unfold as it should. There's never really any certainty anyway, right? We never can be certain about anything. And if we did know exactly how life would turn out, then how boring would everything be? It wouldn't be very fun. Okay, lesson number 3. The reason you are overthinking is because you are trying to solve a problem without the facts. So either you need to go and get the facts or you need to shift your focus. Most problems, especially in your business, cannot be solved by overthinking, but yet we try so hard to. We think that if we can just think about it some more, then the answer will come to us. But most of the time, we need a little more information before we can get that answer. And thinking more and more and more, probably around the same thought loop, the same spiral, that's not going to give us the information that we are missing. For example, one that comes up a lot with my students is they'll say, well, I want to create an online course, but I need to think a little bit more about how best to structure it for my students. But you're missing information in this case, like where your students might get stuck or where they might need extra support or what questions they might have. And you're only going to get this information by actually starting to teach it the first time. A way to get those facts would be to teach it live and then get feedback from the students, watch what questions they ask and tweak the content before you then go and spend all of this time recording all of the lessons and the modules. Lesson number 4, the solution probably isn't to do more or add more. And look, this is a lesson that I keep continually having to learn. I'm not sure if I've completely learned this one yet because it is just so easy to keep piling more things on, adding new things, doing more things in your business. And then you wonder why there is just so much on your plate and you're feeling exhausted. So instead of always adding more, sometimes we can do a little bit less. Less, but better. And some of the best businesses that I've seen are the ones that do a couple of things, sometimes even just one thing, really, really, really well. So less, but better. Number 5, if you keep doing more, you will probably burn out. So I've been very guilty of doing the same thing that I see many of my students doing, which is, you have this period of motivation where you're just wanting to work on your business day and night. Everything's going well. You're doing more. And then you get a little bit exhausted and it's followed by a period of demotivation and you don't want to do anything. And I think the goal here is to balance those ebbs and flows as much as possible. But this also does lead me into lesson number 6, which is roll with the seasons of your business and your energy. You're not always going to have those seasons where you have so much energy and you want to work really hard on everything. And likewise, you're going to have seasons when you just don't want to work, and those will pass naturally. I used to feel so much guilt and shame when I didn't want to work on my business, when I didn't feel like working. I felt lazy. I was like, why? Everyone else around me is working so hard. Why can't I just do the thing? But I'm learning that some seasons I will want to work on my business and I will be super productive. And then other seasons I'm not as productive and I will try and just do the bare minimum. And both of these are okay, though I am still working toward that end goal of just as much balance as possible. And then lesson number 7, there is always a lesson in the things that you want to avoid. It's really easy to look for the lesson that confirms the things we already know because that feels really comfortable. But it's not quite as easy to look for the lesson in the things that we don't want to face. And I'm starting to learn that the lessons or the things I want to avoid are the things that I need to lean into the most. And even just asking the question, why am I trying to avoid this? What am I really avoiding? What is this here to teach me is a huge, huge question to reflect on because avoiding things doesn't make them go away. And in my experience, the problems just get bigger and bigger and bigger until you can't avoid them anymore. So the sooner that you can learn that lesson, face the thing that you are avoiding, the easier it's going to be. And then hopefully it won't show up again. So there you have it. 7 little lessons that I learned in 2023. If you have learned anything from this show so far, please take 30 seconds to leave a quick rating and a review. I read every single one of them. It means a lot to me when you do. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.